Tom Hanks is back in theaters, so this week we want to examine the utter nonsense that would have been Forrest Gump 2: Electric Boogaloo. Okay, they probably wouldn't have called it that, but the script was just as ridiculous as that made-up name. Hey guys, welcome to Rejected Movie Ideas, the only show that dedicates your valuable time talking about movies you never knew you didn't want to see. Case in point, the outright insanity that would have been the follow-up to the 1994 dramedy Forrest Gump. Now, as sacrilegious as that idea sounds today, we have to remember that the 90s were a simpler time. A time long before director Robert Zemeckis lost his faith in human actors and committed himself to a decade of making films with creepy CGI substitutes. We're talking about a time when Tom Hanks could bring in over $600 million worldwide. To do that today, we'd have to dress him up in a supervillain costume and have him fist fight the Avengers for 90 minutes. And as we all know by now, a movie can't make over $500 million at the box office without the studio wanting to immediately start working on a sequel. Lucky for them, the writer of the original book took it upon himself to write a fully fleshed out film called Gump & Co. Now, if you don't have anything better to do with $5, I recommend you find yourself a used copy of the book on Amazon and indulge yourself with the chapters of what would have been the most batshit crazy sequel to a Tom Hanks movie ever, second only to a personal project I've been working on for a few years called Joe vs. the Volcano 2: Lava Mania. I swear it's gonna sell. Gump & Co. follows the story of Forrest in financial straits after his bubblegum shrimp company falls into bankruptcy. And since Gump wasn't exactly the type of person to understand like savings accounts or money, he ends up working as a janitor in a New Orleans strip club. From that point on, he manages to Forrest Gump his way through a series of short-lived but equally out-of-place jobs, such as door-to-door salesman, a taste researcher for Coca-Cola, a pig farmer, Bible reenactor, captain of the Exxon Valdez, and a spy on a mission in the Middle East. The plot crosses the crazy Rubicon when Forrest Gump, the character, runs into Tom Hanks, the actor, who then proceeds to tell our bewildered hero that life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get, essentially taking this simple man and mind-fucking his brains out. And if that isn't enough to convince you that this movie would have been the second most insane thing in Tom Hanks' career, somewhere around the middle of the book, we get to see the return of Gump's troubled girlfriend Jenny in ghost form. Now, if you remember correctly, Jenny dies in the original movie from a pretty nasty case of AIDS. But much like anything else in this story, the writer just didn't know when to let a bad idea die and brought Jenny back from the dead in form of a ghost. I'm not talking about your run-of-the-mill ghost that only knows how to timidly pop up in the background of a blurry picture. No, I'm talking about a walking, talking, Obi-Wan Kenobi type of ghost that interacts with Forrest and gives him life advice throughout the book. Believe it or not, Hollywood is a town that rewards crazy. And because of that, a screenwriter was actually paid to adapt and develop a feature-length Gump & Co. script. However, much like everything else in Forrest Gump's life, history found a way to interrupt our hero's future. In an interview with SlashFilm.com, the screenwriter of the sequel, Eric Roth, said, "I turned in my version of the Forrest Gump sequel, but I turned in the script the night before 9/11. And we sat down, Tom and Bob and I, looked at each other and said, we don't think this is relevant anymore." And just like that, everybody involved with the project moved on to bigger and better things. Zemeckis and Hanks went on to create the creepiest doll-eyed version of a human being in The Polar Express, and Roth went on to write another tale of a bewildered man accidentally running into historical events in a charming, albeit ridiculous way called The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, which might have the distinction of being among the most critically and financially successful movies to ever drop out of everybody's mind the year after it came out. Luckily, there are no sequel plans for that one yet. Hey guys, hope you liked that video. If there were a Forrest Gump sequel, what would you want to see in it? For me personally, it would be Lieutenant Dan, either with legs or without, whatever they decide to go with. Anyway, for more rejected movie ideas, make sure you subscribe to this channel and be sure to like and comment on this video right here. And if you want to see more of me, check out my channel, Practical Folks. There's a link like somewhere around here. Be good people.